Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build, live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing this evening? I hope you are well. Indeed, anti-pumpkin time, Linny. Yes, you are quite right. How is my audio this evening, folks? I have some foam behind me now that should be lowering echoes, hopefully. Not had much chance to play with it. It only arrived yesterday. Proper recording studio foam, so I'm hoping it's done the trick. Proof of foam sounds good. Audio sounds different. Different how, James? Good or bad? Because I'm hoping for good. There is less echo. Less echo is good. Audible is also good. So yes, the aim of the evening is to get this some way close to finished, if not actually finished. And it won't be weathered and stuff, which it really does need over this thick white lining, but you know, there is time eventually for me to weather stuff. I was actually looking at it the other day. Sounds as if you're far from the microphone and you have boosted the gain an awful lot. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as if you were closer to the microphone. I mean, I am less than a ruler away from the microphone. You can see being very close to the microphone would be difficult if working on models. So the microphone is just there. It is right in front of me. If I can try and pull it forward towards me a bit, but it's bolted on at that end, so it's not going anywhere. My suggestion is get one of them fangled USB gaming mics you can get. Does that not look professional enough, Thomas? It's a proper microphone. Connected through a Sound Blaster X-Fi. Looks very pro, but that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping it would look and be professional. But you see, round behind me now, we have the acoustic foam on the wall. I keep getting Skype-like noises. I don't think I even have Skype open. That's a weird one. Let's check. No, Skype's not open. What splendid foam indeed, and there was a lot more of it turned up than I was expecting, so there's slightly more wall covered than I was expecting originally. Good evening, Merryhampton Productions. How are you? Might be the springs on the stand. Sounds like ending a Skype call. Ah, there are indeed. Oh, there's my laptop. There are springs here on my camera stand. Certainly does look proper. It's picking up a lot of fan-like sounds, though. I reckon the echo hid that. Ah, the fan-like sounds, that would be, you see, underneath my laptop here, we have a big fan that keeps the laptop from overheating. That would be the fan-like sound. It needs some oil, and I think it's a bit loose, so it needs some maintenance, which it's not getting right now. But that would explain the fan-like sounds. Not too bad, been bashing an old Lima 117 into a 116. Oh, very nice. I do enjoy a good bash. But yeah, the fan, let's turn the fan off. So now I've turned the fan off. There is still a fan noise, but that is inside the laptop. So I'm going to turn that back on, because otherwise my fan will get really, really loud, and my laptop will get really, really hot. Interested in improved Class 117, so the first type of train that I travelled on. Interesting, that is always cool. First thing I travelled on was a VEP in NSE livery. It lives with me. So yes, as I was saying, I was looking at this the other day, and it occurs to me that next to the prototype picture, these transfers look better where they've lost the white lining than they do where they have it. But, you know, never mind. Where they've lost it, they're eventually, when they get weathered, it's going to be made to look like it's lost some paint in places, which was typical of Stroudley engines. Especially on the tender engines, there are photos where the whole side, you can make out exactly where the edge of the tank is, because there is no paint there at all. So it makes quite an interesting worn look, because of him using hot water storing hot water in the tank rather than cold, so it came off. Wonder if a coat of liquid decal film by micro-CR might avoid the white flaking off. I think what they need is a coat of varnish before you use them, which I would have expected the person producing the transfers to put on them, but he hasn't, so there we go. I reckon that's what it is. I reckon they've just been printed and not treated to secure them to the surface as such. That's something, when I've made my own transfers, it's always been print, let dry, then varnish to make sure that they don't come off. And I say, if I didn't do that, some of my transfers I printed in the past, I'd put them in the water and the ink would come straight off. So I reckon that's what they need, but it's done now. So, the main area for transferage still is the back of the tender and the toolbox. Once that's done, we've got the buffer beam, front and rear, and the valances. And then it's all transferred up. A few more details for paint. That bit of card as well. Such as the safety valves, the whistle. The black areas are all going to get touched up. The cab roof needs to go white. Question, what size are your tender wheels and trailing wheels? In theory, they're the same size, because Stroudley made trailing wheels the same size as tender wheels. I can't remember why, but there was a reason behind it. But I don't have proper measuring tools to hand for measuring diameters. But I'm going to happily say that's 16 mil. Yeah, 16 mil. So they are 4-foot wheels. Double O gauge model. Let's go back to where I lost that one. Interesting, Class 116 was predicting you here in the Midlands until being replaced by the 150s. Class 150 is what I first rode on. I think my first was a 153 or 156. Definitely better, comfortable. I have an N gauge model of them. Double O gauge model from memories travelling on the 2000s. Fair enough. That's one way. That's a pity. They should be 4.6. Ah, well, they are not 4'6". I can tell you that now. There is definitely not another 2 mil there that I'm measuring wrong. No, that's definitely 16 mil. I measured with a different ruler as well to check. So yeah, they are too small. Interesting to note. So we have thought something didn't look right, and you were right. Say this looking at the GA. Well, yeah, that'd do it. We have here small, almost round transfers. They are our lining for the sides of the toolbox. And then slightly further down the page we have some for the back of the toolbox and the back of the tender above it. So they are going to be our first bits to do. They are the end of the body for both the loco and tender then. We've got a fresh new blade in the knife. So we should find these are coming up quite easily. There's an air bubble on it and it's floating. I'd normally put the second one in there at the same time. I'm not doing so with these because I think less time in the water gives the white slightly more chance of surviving onto the side of the engine. So we're going to work with that theory and not put that in until after we've got the first transfer on. First train I can recall travelling on 5-year-old Paddington Snow Hill BR Blue Pullman 1965 after arriving in Tilbury, returning from Sydney. It was my 5th birthday too. Very nice, Bob, and welcome. How are you? I hope you are well. And there is a reminder from the bot to smash that like button, folks, and subscribe and all that other wonderful goodness that really does help the channel. There's a lot of green I have to touch up on here where I have not painted it thick enough, or the transfers are too small. You decide either way. It's a splendid introduction to train travel, isn't it just, James? Chipper Fates, hope you are too. I am indeed, Bob. Thank you. See that the bot is working? The bot is indeed working. That is... Well, I mean, I need to remember to update the bot, because the last few weeks I've opened it to start the live stream and it's like, do you want to update now? And I'm like, no, not really. Remind me at a better time. And of course I always forget. Oh look, I never turned my phone on to silent. That was silly, wasn't it? You all got to hear my Discord noise. There we go, it's nice and silent now. So yeah, at some point I need to remember to update the bot. It's less scary than updating Streamlabs itself, because it doesn't have quite as many settings to forget. It does still have a lot of settings to forget, but it never has. Have my hydration mug in use? Excellent, Bob. Excellent. As do I. Hydration is important. And there we go. Toolbox sides transferred. which I think I've done the toolbox sides in the past on ones I've done transfers for, but it's never ones I've liked doing. So I think there are certainly locos I have skipped it on just because I didn't want to draw them. I know I'm terrible and lazy. It's fine, I don't mind. Right, so as I said, we have ones here for the back of the back of the tender and the back of the toolbox. Now you'll notice there is 3 different sizes here. This is clearly a case of when they were being drawn he didn't know what size they needed to be. So I'm going to cut out a couple of sizes and compare them. And I'm going to start with these 2. And they look about right to me. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Almost. If anyone tells you I do know what I'm doing, they are a terrible liar and you should not trust them. It's a bit unfortunate the person making transfers doesn't know what the right size of the transfers is. Well, I mean, they were originally done as a commission for someone else. And with the fact there are slight errors, I'm assuming measurements were given to them slightly wrong. Or possibly in some cases, such as these, not at all, when it was guesswork from photos. But that is pure speculation on my part. But it would explain why there are 3 sizes for these transfers. Certainly an explanation, yes. Something has to explain it, and that's the one I can think of right now. I know I've done that in the past where I've printed multiple sizes, just in case. But I usually delete those from the final transfer print. So on the plus side, there's plenty of spares on the sheet. And good evening, Great Northern. How are you today? I hope you are well. Oh, that's no fun. That's not going to go in behind there. It's a good job I knew that was flexible, isn't it? And there we go. See, I test print all transfer size plain paper before using transfer paper. That way you're guaranteed the right size first time on the transfer or label paper. Well, that is what I do when I'm making them, Thomas. However, the person that made these is not the person that commissioned them. So he didn't have access to the model to do that. But yeah, that is what I always do. And it's really annoying because you get a different colour finish on regular paper to transfer paper. So the first time I made transfers, I matched the colours to my model using regular paper. It's like, yes, excellent, I've got a perfect colour match, let's print that properly. And it came out on the transfer paper a completely different colour. It's like, oh, well, that's no good. Yeah, these were commissioned for someone originally. That is annoying. It is very annoying. I never did manage. I started doing test prints of various shade alterations direct onto transfer paper, and I never could quite get a match. I got close, but I never got an actual match. And there we go, that is the rear of the tender done. Shame, move it too far forwards and it's not quite sitting under my lights anymore. So there we have the rear of the tender. And the sides of the toolbox is done. Which is, as I say, the final parts of the body. Nice done, thank you, James. So what else is going to be annoying is specifically to this model being a pre-built by someone else. There's a lot of intricate lines on this locomotive. There is indeed. There are transfers here for the lining that goes on the front of the buffer beam, which is it. I can see it looks dark. It is dark. That's why it's not buffer beam red. So there is a lining panel that goes all the way round. However, because of how this loco was built, very nicely I might add, by whoever built it, these couplings do not come out. So I'm going to have to cut the lining in half, get half of it on this side, half of it on the other side, and then of course we've got the air pump, the air pipe in the way as well. So there's a lot of detail on that buffer beam to get lining around that I can't remove. So that's fun. This is the downside of repainting someone else's very nicely kit built model. I mean, it's my model now, but I didn't build it. It would have never been in that southern green if I built it. But the lining is there, so it needs using. So that goes on, and inside that lining is supposed to be buffer beam red, whereas the outside of the ballot of it is not, as you can see on the photo here, which is why it looks so dark on camera, because it is. So yeah, I have decided what I'm going to do is put the transfers on and paint the vermilion in after. Truly teeny lining indeed, but it's still not engage. I can just about see it. But the reason I have decided that is, for those that haven't noticed, everything on these panels, none of my painting for the green round the edges, well, okay, some of it does, but like none of the corners quite line up properly. So whatever way I did this, I'd be having to put paint on after doing the transfers. So I decided, if that's the case, why not make it so that I am doing all of the paint inside them after, and not having to do any on the outside, because of course I would get it completely wrong the other way around and I'd end up having to paint both sides of the transfer, which I think has more of a chance of messing it up. So what colours are the lines for the buffer beam panel on the transfers? I'd love to tell you for sure. It appears to be green and yellow, but I'm not 100% yet until we go in the water, because of course I didn't even see the white lining on these until after they'd gone in there. That's smaller and more intricate than lots of things in Engage. Yeah, but where's the fun in me taking the mick out of Engage if I then start doing smaller stuff and admitting I can see it? So I'm going to cut that in the middle. From the outside it should be scarlet, black, yellow, black, white with a scarlet panel in the middle. Well, let's find out, shall we? Because I kind of wish they'd done that panel as part of the transfer, but they didn't. Been working on 176 scale models for a club layout recently. DCC fitting a Helgen Class 15. That stuff is huge compared to Engage. There's acres of space for a massive stay alive. Yes, I can imagine. I do not envy you putting DCC and stay alives in Engage, James. I have a friend who's decided to go RC as Mr. Corbs does. He's doing it in O-Gauge. And when I mentioned I know someone that's done it with 009, he was rather impressed, to say the least. Engage stay alives aren't bad, you just need to use tantalum surface mount capacitors. Yeah, fair enough. Whereas I have big round capacitors. So to get a capacitor big enough, I don't even need to model the boiler. Just paint it. From outside should be scarlet, black, yellow, black, white. Right, it appears to be yellow, black, white. So they've got 3 of the colours. They've done some of it. Our large supercats, I managed to get a large 25 volt, 3000 microfarad electrolytic in the tender on a Batman H2 a while ago, but I'd rather go with the 15 volt supercapacitors and power management circuit. I always use 25 volts. That's just me. And I generally make my own circuits for them, as you know from my circuit diagram up there. Do you have buffer casing transfers too? I do not believe so, no. Okay, there is some solid yellow lining that looks like it is supposed to be for the buffers, yes. Right, there's a slight mark on there that if I don't take my eyes off it, I can use to cut that and get it right. If you're not voltage regulating, you need 25 volts. Exactly. And that really is all I do. It's just, it's quick and simple to put together. Because, you know, for those that think I know anything, I just have circuit diagrams around that I can follow. But I even have all the standard colours for DCC sockets and stuff just pinned up in front of me. I don't know any of this stuff, I just read it off a sheet in front of me. It's easier that way. I use the Zimmo SACC16, which is very compact. I approve of very compact. I don't know where my bag of parts is. I've not put it in here properly yet. It's not in either of those boxes. Look at that, fits beautifully. Nope, I genuinely cannot see anywhere where I could have put that. Oh, there it is. Resistors and diodes that are that small. That's very compact. One of each. And I currently have a load of resistors that are as good as useless because they're 470s, so they're as good as useless in double O gauge. You need multiples of those. I'm going to have to take a chunk of this off. The question is, how much? That much, right. take that much off. That should do. I'm not even going to let go of this. That wasn't a resistor. No, that was a capacitor. There's the diodes and resistors. But you're working a scale that gives you cavernous space inside tenders, and you can get away with surface mount and 25 volt capacitors. This is true. This is very true. But not everything in this size is massive. Remember, I have lots of terriers, and they're mostly full of motor. Must resist the urge to make a joke. Oh dear. Oh dear. What do you use terrier stay alives? I cannot remember what size capacitors I've got in my terriers, but in the old tooling ones, I've got the DCC chip and the stay alive in the smoke box at the front, because it is the only place in those that isn't full of motor or weight or gears. What I'd like to do is manage to fit one with sound and smoke and a I know what word I'm thinking of, firebox flicker, just to prove it can be done. Only I'm not convinced it can be done. Hydration is important. Dapper one's speaker pre-fitted, I believe. Yes, but I'm working with the old style ones. The old tooling, not the new tooling. Haven't seen a terrier with smoke. I'm sure it can be done. Recognise I have been an electronics technician nearly 40 years. You had the electrical capacitor and etc. Ah, did I? I see. I meant to say capacitor. Real challenge would be stay alive fitting an N-gauge terrier. Yeah, that would be a challenge, James. And I will leave that to the people who are better at N-gauge, such as yourself. People expecting me to say the right words. I don't word right. Me fail English? That's impossible. So now we have to do the same to the rear buffer beam. Oh, I'm glad no one comes here for actual advice, because I'd be terrible at that with how much I say the wrong thing, wouldn't I? The rear tender lining's not right. Oh, go on. Speaker in the bunker and smoke unit where the weight is. Well, yes, obviously, Thomas, but at the moment, that space where the weight is, I am taking up with a DCC chip and a stay alive. So I have to relocate them. Should not have a bottom row, but the sides should go straight down to the top of the toolbox. Never mind, I did wonder about that. What I can say is it's too late now, it's done. Don't expect it, we just point out your mistakes. After all, you're here to make mistakes, so we don't need to. Hey, yes indeed. And I'm very good at making mistakes. She needs a bit of weathering to cover it up. Yeah, true. True, true. Good lads, lasses and everyone in between. Good evening, Red. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Smaller stay alive caps and chips should fit in the tanks maybe. I'm not sure the chip will fit in the tanks, actually. Even with my small chips, I'm not convinced. Fine, thank Gary, a bit bloated from roast dinner. We'll do that to you. All very nice. I approve of having a nice filling dinner. The kids don't want me to make roast very often, but when I do, they love it. So, I really appreciate when people use scale couplings. They're great. They make locos look fantastic. I'm not such a fan of when they fit them in such a way you can't take them off to do things like lining the buffer beam, which obviously is a totally reasonable thing to want to do. I'll have to have a look inside Black Steppers at some point, see what might fit. Do they do square capacitors? There are smaller capacitors you might get in there easier, but it's just a case of the smoke generator is a bit large to have them together. Good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you? I hope you are well. Approve of roasting, especially if there is pudding. There was pudding. We had some homemade jam donuts the neighbours made. All very nice indeed. That's how much we need to lose to make up for the pipe. And get rid of these bits. Well, thank you. I hope you are too. I am indeed, thank you. Getting jealous all this talk of curries roasted is making me homesick. My pasta just didn't cut the mustard. Well, I had a fry up because that's what the kids wanted. Which is great because they don't like black pudding, so I get loads of black pudding. It's awesome. I'm sure that helped greatly, didn't it? Come here, transfer. Black pudding is awesome. Black pudding is indeed awesome. And there we are, that is the rear buffer beam lined. If I do like a nice bit of black pudding, well, exactly. It's only my kids that don't. Thanks, Carrie. No problem. No problem. At any time. My family's from Ireland, so that's hardly surprising. I think black pudding is awesome. There's an imposter among you. Oh dear. We're not playing that. Fun fact, I have never played that. So, you know. The kids do, all the time. Pasta spirals in a creamy sauce, large chunks of salami and ham. That does sound good, actually. I'm not going to lie, that does sound good. Oh, and the bot said hydration is important. So, you know, hydration is important and all that. Among Us Pasta edition. Exactly, Thomas. And hello, Ollie's branch line. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. I have with my mates once. It's okay, there are better games. Well, of course there are better games. Some of them aren't family friendly, therefore don't get mentioned on stream, and I do play lots of. Good evening, Javier. How are you? I hope you are well. You join us with an almost fully lined B1. I approve of pasta. It is good, isn't it, James? Especially when you do things like adding nice, interesting meats and nice sauces. Honestly, hate the idea of black pudding. Fair enough for those who like it, but it's not for me. Well, you know you can get the same but without the blood, and it's called white pudding. Thinking of pasta now. Why, pasta. Right, so we have 1, 2... Wait, you're a different shape. Oh, now you're trying to confuse me. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, that's confusing. There's two different shapes here. Approve of fully lined B1. I am glad you approve, Javier. Pasta wasn't bad, but roast dinner, curry, fry-ups. Yeah, fair enough. White pudding is also excellent. It is indeed also excellent. My favourite video game is Gundam Rig 3, totally accurate battle simulator Crash Bandicoots. Maybe not the best person to judge. Can I have a sausage or rather it be a sausage? Fair enough. It's also red pudding, but you hardly see it. I was not aware of red pudding. I'm aware of black and white, and I enjoy both, but I was not aware of red. So, we have... Looks wonderful. Thank you, Ollie. So, we have next to line the valances, which to be really awkward... Go on, focus. Yeah, there we go. We have nice curved ones, and we have curved ones with a little kink at the end. They seem to be made so that all the left-hand ones are curved and all the right-hand ones are more flat with the kink at the end. I'm probably wrong on that. In fact, I'm definitely wrong on that. But I can't work out for definite which one goes where. Vaguely aware of red pudding, but never had it. I've never even heard of it. There's a part of me thinking the bit with the kink must be where the steps are. Video game-wise, my favourites are Derail Valley, Hitman, and Gang Beasts. I mean, video game-wise, you're all wrong. Just so you know, you're all very wrong. I'll also try the gumbo recipe up on Discord pasta. If you like seafood, it'd probably be good at something different. But it's a bit rich. There we go. I can read. I learnt that skill. But yes, I'm sure these ones must be like so. And this one must be round here above the steps. They seem to fit like that. So that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to cut out their opposing sides. Mainly like Gundam Breaker because I grew up with Gundam where you get to build your own giant robots. I mean, building your own giant robots is a good thing. Basically, game Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy text adventure. I'm learning. Did you eat a by crew? Not had either. It's a Scottish colleague used to play. It was only a proper fry up if you had all three types of pudding. I've never even heard of red pudding. Red pudding is not dissimilar to Savoy. Ah, fair enough. Good then. Be a bit feeling for breakfast. Yeah, but I had it for dinner. I used to play text game, Bard's Tale, might as well, text game, King's Quest. Well, you know. If we're going to bring text-based games into it, then I'm afraid you have all died of dysentery. So a proper Scottish fry-up should have tatty scones and square sausage too. Well, of course. Oh, my video game preference is fine, Gareth. I just don't use TF2 Gmod, GTA that much at the moment. Got a good thing. Got too much good thing on that. That's the King's Quest against Kid. Wiki says red pudding is associated with the east of Scotland, generally particularly Fife, even though it's become less common in recent years. Harry Hill left Oregon Trail too. Yay! I'm glad someone got it. I'd have felt ashamed if no one had mentioned it by name. Right, so I need to cut these down because they do have backing over the whole thing. So having them being giant like this is not very advantageous. It's meant to say too. I assumed it was. But yeah, you got the one I've been playing a lot of in your message there, Thomas. You've got the one, well, one of the games I've been playing a lot of recently in there. I can't tell you which one though. Totally accurate battle simulator, just hilarious, which is why I like it. I mean, that is a good reason to like it, and in fact, the reason I... Console or PC? Console. I prefer games on PC, but for a good number of years I did not have a PC good enough. So, I mean, now I do, and I play a lot of PC games, but I have been consoling it up again recently. I approve of an oyster fry, the usual ingredients, plus black and white pudding, fried potato bread, fried soda bread. So, my most recent console, and the one in which I have been playing, is an Xbox 360. Not even kidding. Depends, I have PS4, but I don't really play a massive amount of games anyway. Yeah, see, that's why I've never upgraded, is no games have come out that have made me think I want to spend money on a new console. I've left that in there too long. That's going to be a right pain now. Probably lose a load of its self. But yeah, if a game comes out that makes me think that's worth buying a new console for, I will buy a new console. Chances are, though, I'll just get PC games now because I have a gaming PC. Well, I have a gaming laptop and I'm using it to run the stream. Well, there we go. It has some lining on the valance. My little brother has a bunch of vintage consoles up in his room. Anyone want a still working NES? NESs are excellent. I have a Sega Mega Drive and a N64 plugged into the telly in the living room. Let me took my 360 up at some point. Mine has genuinely never been unhooked since I got it. I likely wouldn't have had my Xbox One if it weren't for the Blu-ray feature and my friends upgrading. It makes sense. I have I don't have any more, a Blu-ray player, so Blu-ray was not a reason for me to upgrade. I now run everything streaming off a NAS drive. so I have no need to have things plugged in for watching stuff. In fact, I think my NAS drive has a Blu-ray that I can plug into it for use with the software that streams, if I so wanted to. So there's that. Oh, this console I have is a Mega Drive Mark 1. Way, Mega Drives are great. Off topic, does Gary have an E5 loco? Gary does have an E5. It is the first kit he ever built. It is a white metal. It is super glued together. It is on a Hornby Dublo chassis with original wheels and motor, and it is painted improved engine green. Good evening, Train Fan 778. I probably could have guessed you like trains from the name Train Fan. And how are you this evening? I hope you are well. I'd like to think I have got those lining pieces the right way round. Now we just need to fill in that gap in the middle. Ah, new people. Welcome, new people. Indeed, James. New people. We like new people round here. This is not a local stream for local people. So now, in theory, on the tender, I do the lining the other way, so that I get the curvy one here where there should be steps but they broke off, and the end one there. I just like the idea of having my console having a Blu-ray capable drive, but having said that, I don't think I'll be getting a Series X till it goes cheaper. See, I won't be getting one unless they announce a game for it that I want to buy. And since the next-gen consoles have GTA 5 announced as a game to come out on release day for them, I mean, when I booted up GTA 5 the other day, my last save file was saved in 2013, so it's not exactly a state-of-the-art game to be coming out on the next-gen consoles. Obviously, I've now played through the entire story mode again in 2021. Well, almost. I got like a day's worth, well, an evening's worth of playing left. But yeah, I have the third Doctor story on Blu-ray and so much nice and standard def version. See, no, that's great, but I digitise everything. So it all goes onto my drive, which has a program called Plex running on it. I have a Plex app on my, in fact I have it on my TV, my laptop and my phone. And any of those can connect to my drive from anywhere in the world and play anything that's on it. So having things in physical format anymore just isn't worthwhile. I remember playing the original Grand Theft Auto, but I'm old. I remember playing the original Grand Theft Auto on PC and London. London was great because it was London. It's funny as hell though. Yeah, yes it is Red. That's why I've got it. I'm not buying GTA 5 a fourth time. I never bought it a second time. I still play it on the 360. Because why would I buy a new console for a game I already have? I have the original on PS1 downstairs. So I've only got the Dominoes. I've not played Dominoes in years, Bob. Years and years and years. I have the OG GTA on PS Classic and on disc for PS1. To enjoy game 5 and 3. See, there we go. Look, we're not all playing computer games all the time. In fact, I very rarely play computer games. It's the last couple of weeks I've been playing them in my downtime along with all the renovations on the house because I've needed to do something. I had GTA 2 on the PlayStation, but I had 1 and the 2 London games they did, because they did London and then London 69 on the PC. Last time I played Dominoes, last time I saw my nan. Now I miss my nan, not seen her in a year. Understandable, Red. We are all in that. You know, I think we can all sympathise with how you feel there. I did manage to get those words out in the end. Bit of Schrodinger's GTA 5. Downloaded it when it was free during pandemic, but I've not tested if it works. Well, it's as good. It's always a good time to try. Have a yeah. Like a bit of Uno, but have to play it on Roblox for obvious reasons. Uno. Again, something I've not played in many years. Me and my ex used to play board games and card games a lot, but the kids aren't really into it, unfortunately. I still have all the board games and card games. One day they'll get played. Certainly can sympathise, but sadly I cannot see her ever again. Yeah, there's a lot of sympathising going on there with a lot of people again. So my new question is, can we hear the new background noise that's just started? Sort of a low droning noise. Oh, I honestly, from the movements that my sound bars for the microphone make, I can't tell whether it's affected or whether it's being picked up. Thought that was the old background noise. Sounds like a jet intake. Well, I can hear his fan from the background. Okay, so you can't hear the new noise. That's good. Next door have just put their tumble dryer on. It's on the other side of the wall. Used to play the board game Go with the Go Club. The game is the source of the word Atari. Atari is an unwinnable move that is stuck in a cycle. Interesting. I have an Atari t-shirt on right now. Here it's like wine, but I've no idea what that was, and it's been there for a while. That is the fan keeping my laptop cool. I need to service it. Truthfully, never noticed the old noise. Oh, come on, the rest of these have all gone on nicely. You have to go on nicely and all. That is the law transfer. Yeah, see, just like that. You can do it. I knew you could. Definitely why do you think I live in the middle of nowhere? Oh. See, I live semi-rural, but I'm still in a terraced house. The worst kind of semi-rural. Apart from the fact I live in Norfolk and out here everywhere's in the middle of nowhere. Well, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I never even thought about that until Andy mentioned it. But it's funny we'd get into gaming on the day that I'm wearing a massive Atari logo, isn't it? And it's a shame that that brand has become shameless promotion with things like t-shirts and stuff and not computers anymore. And there is a link to Patreon for those that want to donate to the Patreon. This month's Patreon money was spent on the acoustic foam that is now behind me. I live in a terraced house with a detached shed. Yeah, see, the problem there, James, is my back garden is very open. Where I live was not laid out particularly well when they built it in the 60s. And so road access to the houses is at the back. So all the street noise is that side of the house. And the fences are not solid fences, and I'm the effort to change the fence. I'm doing everything inside at the minute, so it's not the ideal place for a shed full of expensive stuff. Just wish my neighbours wouldn't blast the music loud. You know, if I'm up the floor across the other side of the room, it's like the phone is playing quiet background music. Wow, that's quite loud. Game Go was the last game that the best human player could still beat computers up until only about 5 years ago. Now the computers win. Interesting. Darn computers. Always winning. That might be long enough that we can do the loco and the tender with this piece. Might. I wish I could get it to stand up like that. It's really awkward. That's better. Paint pot to save the day. I can put that there. Move it a bit closer now that I've lifted that transfer out the way. And if we can get both of those done with that, that'll be great, because there's 5 more of them. And I approve of spares. Love my terraced house, but next door always seems to attract the noisy people. Yeah. So next door on that side, so the furthest away side that we've currently got a whole house between us and them, have a laser cutter. That's loud. That's very loud. incredibly loud, Tom. Even my band and I aren't that loud. Well, you need to turn it up then, Red. You're clearly being too quiet. There are neighbours on the street on the corner 3 to 4 doors in that can hear said music as well. Oh God, that's bad. But yeah, I do not like when next door have a busy period with their laser cutting. Because the thing will be going 12 hours a day. Laser cutters are very loud, we have one at work. Yeah, they really are very loud, aren't they? It's put me right off laser cut stuff. No, it hasn't really. But it could. There we go. That's that on. I know someone at the Model Railway Club who's buying a laser cutter. He couldn't get insurance to have it in the house, so he's had a shed built for it. It's quite a fire hazard apparently. Oh yes, they are. Yeah, I don't think... Like, next door's house is rented. And I don't think their landlord knows they have a laser cutter in that house. Just tell your neighbour he wants a laser cutting done for free if it's going 12 hours a day. Yeah, but that would mean it going even longer. You see the problem? Look at that, lined balancing. We are making progress. No, there's nowhere I can get this side to stand up. Oh, there we go. Got it. The Hat Lab one has a strict no leaving the cutter unattended even to next door rule, which makes sense. But free laser cutting. Yeah, but loud. We want to minimise the loud. It's not the cutter that's loud normally, but the extraction, yes, the manual emphasis that it must never be unsupervised. Depends if it's just one like the one my work owns. Sounds like it needs some those $15 foam panels. Oh, but they're not soundproofing, they're just to stop echoes. They're to improve the acoustics. And it is quite a monster of a machine they have next door. Tell them to try magnifying glass on a sunny day instead. Can you not have the extractor run off 5 PC fans? Would surely be quieter. So their machine will cut 9 foot by 9 foot square sheets at up to 30mm thick. So it's a monster of a machine. And as for extraction, well, they've got a tumble dryer hose that pokes out the window of the room it's in. So yeah, there's that. And there we are, one lined tender valance that I'm now seeing isn't lined up as I look at it on the screen. There we go. Lined valances. Okay, same spec as I want at work then. Well, hey, the same as something. But yeah, it truly is a monster. But the amount of business they turn over is incredible. Jesus, that laser cutter. Yeah. I'm going to refill the hydration vessel. Because my mouth's getting quite dry from all this talking and it's empty. Our mechanic uses it to machine parts for older vehicles, fair enough. Each of that laser cutter would fill up my bedroom. Well, you see, there's a reason they rent the big house. So hydration is important, everyone. And they do that. Their house is bigger than the rest of the terrace. So's their front garden too, annoyingly. My bedroom is 13 by 12. Well, you could get my recording studio in your bedroom like 6 times. Fill up my bedroom and I have the biggest room in the house. Yeah, I think that their master bedroom is where their laser cutter lives. And then they have a slightly smaller room for themselves. Look, let's move the camera so you can see what's going on. Tender cloth. Yeah, the tender does that a lot. It likes it. It's reminding you just how heavy white metal models are. But yeah, because council building reasons, when they built these houses, this terrace was built as 4 2-bedroom houses and a 3-bedroom house. I mean, I've converted mine into a 3-bedroom house because they are very generous size bedrooms. But still, they have a bigger house. So I'm 22 foot long and half of it is my workshop. So if that sounds like I'm bragging, that does not sound like you're bragging at all. My point was though that my workshop recording studio starts there and ends there, and you can see that wall and that wall in this shot. So I'm not in a very big room right now. rest of my house is, you know, it's a very generously proportioned house still. It's just this room that isn't, because of course this isn't originally a room, it's a larder. But it had stopped being useful as a larder long before it was my house. Because, you know, what they got fitted with modern technology like fridges and freezers. My mum's whole house isn't that long. I mean, 22 foot is quite long for a room, yes. Furniture is the first built in the interior. My room is essentially half the upper floor, so I can have some privacy. Fair enough. Great work again this evening, Gary. I'm going to have to turn in for the night. Spring has arrived and we're very busy at the nursery, so early start. Take care. Safe all regards, Bob. Thank you for coming by, Bob. It is always great to have you here. Good night. Sleep well. Enjoy work tomorrow. I'm looking forward to you being able to get back to Arlie and posting us some nice pictures of your flower arrangements there on RM Web. Because I do enjoy stuff like that. That moment when you have to resist making a joke about generous proportions to keep for the chat rolls. Oh dear. It's even mentioning that you want to make that joke within the chat rolls. Oh dear. But, you know, being a house with its... Yeah, all being well, the SVR will be back operating mid-April. Hurrah. Excellent. Glad to hear it, Bob. Glad to hear it. That would be fantastic. Good night. Yes, good night, Bob. Pros in the chat roll, terrible puns we make with Bob derision. I mean, yeah, definitely, James. I'm all for that rule. Do we even need to make it a rule? I think that should be a rule of life, never mind just the chat. And that's coming from someone who quite frequently makes terrible puns. Thought that was a given anyway. Exactly, Red. So that's the sort of thing that should be a rule of life. So, it is 10:30. We are halfway through the live stream. The question I have therefore to ask is, what are we all up to this evening whilst I work away lining this wonderful loco? What projects have you got on the go? What games are you playing? You know, I love to hear about what it is you're up to whilst I'm doing this. Take my puns away. Well, we never said we'd take them away. So I say, I also make many terrible puns, Thomas. Been working on the measurements for my A2 build. Excellent. You'll have to actually build that one day, Red. Testing and fixing my Engage track. Testing and fixing? What? I didn't know your track was broken. I thought your track was all good. Planning my paint spinner still. Fair enough. Well, definitely not taking puns away, just promising mild derision to those who make them, including me. Exactly. I think I do need an audible groan command for some of the things that get said in chat. So that you can just make my laptop groan when people say these puns. Empire Total War? Excellent, Alex. Good choice. Don't know whether it's working until I test it, which I'm doing now. Ah, fair enough. So by testing, you are playing. Plan to, Garrett, I plan to. I've already got working chassis for it. Excellent, Red. I like hearing that. Slowly fixing the shorts / derailments. Ah, yes. Well, we do not like shorts and derailments. Much more a trousers person than personally. Rainbow Total Water Grown. Yes, good idea. Reworking old micro layout and regauging O gauge to ON30. Oh. Very nice. But yeah, I do think an audible groan, so we can just have an exclamation mark groan with an audible noise that comes from the laptop. But I'd have to remove it if it got abused and was used when there was no reason for it. But I'm glad we got the groan in there for that one though, James. I approve of your groan. Hydration is important. Audible noise and perhaps some alteration to your central heating settings. Oh, well, the problem there is, James, some alteration to my central heating would be an audible noise. Because the boiler's there. And it ain't quiet. I should be getting back to my 009 layout. Been paused for a long time, various reasons, but still doing wagon research. 009 layouts are great. I really need to get back on with mine. I need to get some trees for it, is the next thing I need to buy before I can do anything. He says as if he's actually finished wiring it up. I totally haven't finished wiring it up. That's a lie. Every rail has a dropper. Those droppers go nowhere. I approve an opportunity to use a command that has been suggested without even having time to implement it yet. I approve of your correct usage of that command. Just to make sure to get multiple people to listen to said groan, you don't want a dodgy one by accident. I'm sure I could identify a dodgy one. Moments like this are when I wish I'd used sarcastic drumming monkey gif for that purpose on Discord. Well, there we are. Then 2 in 1. I approve of 009. 009 is great, isn't it? But yeah, I suppose if I got under the 009 and actually finished wiring it up so that all the droppers went somewhere, rather than running the whole layout off of one set of them plugged straight into the back of the controller. I could actually do some running videos on it, couldn't I? Do some shunting in the sidings and all that jazz. .009 running videos, that would be a delight. I thought you would approve of that, James. And it's the layout most likely to get running videos at the minute. Tuesday video, well, we've got a Tuesday video coming up, you know, for Lex Cribs, with a look at, so you can all see behind the scenes of the studio properly. So that, yeah, that's a thing I've got to film for a Tuesday video. I'll have to actually put my current, very temporary, not going to go there forever, spray booth in, so you can see a spray booth in place. And get the airbrush out of the box. Zappos shipping Hitchhiker's Guide groans when they open. Are they? Yes. Well, I must say I had forgotten, it's been a while, but yes. Live streams just wiring up the 009. No. I am not crawling under a layout like that on stream. It is too big and in too awkward of a place to do that. But at the same time as my no to wiring up the 009 on a live stream, Thomas, up above me there, this layout is getting built on live stream. So there is a layout up there to be, look, there's another layout on top of it. See, I may have a small workshop, but it has two layouts in it. Sorting out the jobs on my own layout has been a right pain, so I get that, Harry. Yeah, well, if the 009 could be moved somewhere more accessible for it, then yes, but the fact it is under the stairs and I would have to be under the stairs to do it is a bit of a pain. I know I'm familiar with Hitchhiker's Guide. Galaxy and really tunes more of a mine. Going to be intricate lining, indeed. It's the main problem with pre-group enjoys. It is, isn't it? If only someone would release this loco ready to run. Give it a couple more weeks when this is definitely 100% finished, and you know, then they can announce it. That and the lack of ready to run splendid. Yes, true. I approve of live stream that. We need that command. So that there is the track plan for that layout. That is to scale. That's 1/10 actual size, I think. The thing fits across the work. Well, it fit across the old workbench. It won't fit on this one. I will have to do some adjustments to get it on there. But then all those there, they are scale. So Terrier, Peckett, Stroudley Brake, Stroudley Covered Goods and Open A's. They are all to scale for the stock for the layout. because, you know, if you're going to plan it properly. It's a W4 packet, not a B2. Oh, this one does not want to go on, does it? I think it's going to need some more water, but let's get it sort of on the side first. Two locos already in the pipeline. B1 anytime soon is unlikely. I know, Alex. It's a shame. And at the same time, it's not a shame in the slightest. It's a good thing. I still love the fact that N used to be called Triple O. Well, of course, and that makes perfect sense for what it would be called. Maybe in a few years. Indeed, James, that there will be a B1 released eventually. W4 is indeed teeny, which is why I went with one. Quarter O. HO, half O, QO, quarter O. Yeah. We can hope so. I've no doubt it will happen. I'm just saying, not yet. Yeah. I'm off. Good night, all. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming. Has been great to have you here as always. Sleep well, etc. Don't work too hard and all that jazz. But yes, when I was designing the layout for Building on Stream, which is South Park Quarry, I wanted to get... Like, the boards are from Scale Model Scenery. I picked up the boards cheap on eBay with the box they live in, which they are designed to live in, so you don't have to take the layout down. You literally just pick it up and put it in the box. And it fits beautifully, and you can carry it anywhere you want. So I wanted to make it as interesting as possible. If I'm actually falling asleep too, might have to head off road. Been an awesome stream so far though, we'll catch up tomorrow. Okay, thank you Linny. Good night. Double O should be NQHO, not quite half O. Yeah. I wanted to make the layout, well, I think it's 1100mm long, or thereabouts. And I wanted to make it as interesting as possible. So I decided it had to be an Inglenook. So we've got our 533 Inglenook. But I wanted more than just an Inglenook. I wanted an industrial shunter on there. So we have a loco storage siding. I thought if we're having, and I've never liked layouts that visibly don't go anywhere, so there had to be an exit to the real world, which I'm going to get another board for a fiddlestick. I thought, well, if it's an industrial shunt, I want there to be able to be mainline locos come on, and they're going to also need a brake. So in my 1100mm, I planned it so that it works that a terrier or other such can pull a train in of 5 wagons, uncouple, run round, push it forward into the 5 wagon siding, and take the brake van back out, leaving the layout shuntable to follow Inglenook rules by the industrial loco from here, which can then, once it's done and you've got your train built up, be collected by a mainline engine that can come in, pull it forward, run round, put a brake van at the back, couple it all up and leave, which I think is quite good for the size of layout, really. I'm quite impressed I got all that in. Other than the fact it's a sandstone quarry, I have no idea how it's going to look when it's done. And of course it is planned into the map of the Oak Hill branch. So there is our quarry. And of course there is the layout in my living room. Ford Combe and Groombridge do not exist as layouts. Groombridge of course being the real station that the branch comes off from. There are Inglenook rules. I thought the Inglenook simply meant dinky shunting layout. Groombridge layout would be a delight. It would indeed. And yes, James, there are Inglenook rules. Hang on a second. There it is. Oh, it's not going to let me post it, is it? It might do. Yeah, if I click this one, it's going to open the thing so I can post it. There you go, James. There is a link to the Inglenook rules and such forth. Hooray for interconnectivity. Interconnectivity is great. I wanted everything to be joined in a realistic way. So in fact the site of South Park Quarry, in real life there was a quarry there, but it was closed in the early 1800s. Future club layout, possibly. It might be a bit big for a club, for the current club rooms though, so that would have to see. It's nice now, looks like a good Inglenook will run round, always like a double slip. Thank you, Andy. I am very happy with it. The thing that annoys me is specifically the double slip, because altogether that's 80 quid's worth of track, 30 of which is the double slip. It's like that's a significant portion of the cost of the track is one piece. So I enjoy a double slip, but yeah, when it costs nearly half the track for your layout, it's annoying. Too big, simple, build it in N. No. That would require me to be able to stock an N-gauge layout, which is not happening. Our N-gauge modelers at club are either a bit more freelance in what they have, or are very much the wrong area. That they all have a bit of Great Western in them. One of them is exclusively Great Western. Anyway, I need to head to bed. Got to be up for work in the morning. See you tomorrow on the Discord. Good night, Red. Thank you for coming. Great to have you here as always. Sleep well. Bit more freelance. Nice euphemism. Yeah. That was my diplomatic way of putting it. there are advantages to being a bit more freelance. And I used to do some very freelance modelling, but it's not for me anymore. Hand laying double slipped is a nightmare. We have 18 in our club's yard. Ouch. Great Western is good for engage. Yeah, probably. I can see that. There is certainly a lot out there. So MPEC at W4 doesn't it? Oh, but we were talking about Groombridge being too big as a layout for the existing Uckfield club rooms. Good, I didn't cut either of them too short. For a moment there I thought I'd cut this one too short. Ignore me then. No, I'd much rather not. You could come and defend me in the way that I would genuinely love to do Ford Combe and Groombridge as layouts personally, so that I have all the stations on the branch. I just, alongside having Hailsham, I couldn't justify having Groombridge as well. At the minute, I don't have somewhere I could put Ford Combe, so gosh, an MPEC at W4 would be delightfully microscopic. It would be very much microscopic, wouldn't it? And of course, for those that don't know, my Peckett is quite modified and it's very nice. It is not as it comes from Hornby. Dumb buffers, open cab, full repaint into a custom livery, decided democratically by the people of Discord. So, you know, if you want to get in on that, make sure you join my Discord. Be great to see you all there, those who aren't already. I'm planning on having engaged kittens on my layout. See, we were discussing this the other day, James, with someone at club. There is someone at club that very much could do that. His engage detailing skills are amazing, but he was quite scared of the. I showed the kittens that I've got, and he was quite scared of the idea of painting them. Did you manage to get a stay alive in there? I have not touched the electrics for the Peckett. When I got it, it was already DCC fitted and I've left it alone. I definitely didn't DCC fit it for the person that gave it to me either. Or, you know, at least help them do so. But no, it was already DCC fitted and had Smith's free links on it when I got it, so all my modifications are purely cosmetic to the outside. Get 3D printed ones and paint them teeny brushes. They have to be terribly detailed and engaged. That's true. Nice black cat would be the thing. No, you want something much more detailed than that. Oh. Nah, I can't just have it all one colour. Wouldn't engage kitten be a painted blob of super glue? No, I think that'd be too big. Club layouts, Peckett W4s, which will need stay alive. Kitten shaped blob with imaginary purring. Standard. But yeah, I genuinely can't remember whether I fitted the DCC to the Peckett or whether I sat and talked with him and we worked it out together. It was one of the two. Perhaps a ginger cat. I approve of ginger cats. One of my kittens is going to be ginger. That's why they've not been done, because I don't have the ginger paint colour. But so, like, when we talk about the detailing of Engage that this club member does, for example, he has a building with someone leaning up against it, smoking. And as they smoke, the end of their cigarette lights up, just briefly, as they inhale. His cars have working headlights and indicators on them. He has animals and stuff running around everywhere. His work is incredible. Spent some time today recommending DCC decoders for range locomotives for the club layout. I approve of recommending DCC decoders. Goodness me, that's impressive. That'd be the teeniest of service amount LEDs. Fibre optics. It's all fibre optics run from LEDs underneath his layout. Don't fall. I'm trying to put a transfer on you, you fool. And there we have the valances lined on this side. We are transferred up. Fibre optics, of course, makes sense. I use them for engaged tail lamps. Yeah, it is all very good. I think he said he's used 0.01 mil fibre optics for a lot of it, which it was the smallest size he could get. So at that size, the fibre loses its brittleness and you can bend it as well. Sounds like one of the modellers at the MRC chap who works on Copenhagen Fields layouts. Ah! Yes, that is a very nice layout. My goodness, seriously. Yes, seriously, Teeny. Hydration is important. But you look at the details he puts into absolutely everything. He's got a street at the back of his layout with all low relief buildings on them. Every single one has a detailed interior with people. And they are down to the minutest of details. It is seriously impressive stuff. So, yes, we are. No, we're not all transferred up because we should be putting lining round the buffer, the buffer shanks. I can English. Especially approve of interior as well. Yes, I know you do, James. Look, there we have an interior. And thanks to Mr. Mole, we have a nurse for said interior. I don't actually have any other people here for her to be looking after. but he did supply us with a nurse. So I'm sure that makes you happy as well. Is that carriage going to get a roof? It is. I forgot to order brass sheet. Hello, nurse. So I need to get some brass sheet to make the roof with, which, if someone reminds me to do it tomorrow, I will order it tomorrow, and then we can get that carriage finished after this. I'll have to find a person to put in it to be our invalid. But yeah, if someone reminds me to do that tomorrow, I'll order it tomorrow. I really want to do round the buffer shanks, but I'm not sure how well it's going to go. So we're going to try, and if it doesn't go well, we're not going to do it. It's that simple. But they are there. Can you not set a reminder yourself? Not right now, no. And by the time the stream ends in an hour, I'll have forgotten. You see, I used to get reminded about these things because of all this being in the living room. Now that it's in its own room at the back of the house, I'm not seeing all the stuff every day. So it's a lot easier for me to forget I need to do stuff. Reminder sent on Discord. Excellent, thank you, James. The bot being slow tonight. That seemed to take a while for it to pop up. Probably telling me about that. It wants that update. Well, since you put it up there, James, hydration is important. By then you can go on the floor, bit of rubbish. I'll find you later, or make the children hoover the room. The Garybot 3.1. No, don't be silly. We'd never let Garybot get that advanced. I might try and take over the world or something. So far I've never had a problem with an update to the chatbot. Streamlabs itself gives me loads of problems when it updates. But the only problem with updating the chatbot is it only tells me, yay, you got my reference. It only tells me it wants to update when I open it. I only open it as I'm starting the live stream. By which time I don't have the time for it to update because it needs to be open. And then I'll forget about it until next week. And it'll come to next week and I'll open it at 3 minutes to live and it will say, do you want to update now? Click here to view the changelog. And I'll say no. Another Discord reminder sent. Excellent. It's been on at me for 3 or 4 weeks to do this update. So it's been asking me to update it since the week before we moved into the studio. Same thing we do every night, Pinky. See, I say that to the kids all the time and they don't understand because they've never seen Pinky and the Brain. And it makes me sad. And say to me, what are we going to do today, Daddy? Same thing we do every day, children. Try to take over the world. And they'll just be like, what? I try playing them old cartoons occasionally, but they're not interested. How can one go through life without Pinky and the Brain? Exactly. I like to think of the reason of being born in the last... Oh, see, it was fantastic. My favourite episode will always be the one where they actually did take over the world, because they built a paper mache replica of the entire world and they managed to get everyone in the world to move there. So then they wanted to take over the paper mache world because all the people were there. Kids like the country song. Car, that's so out of date now. It was wrong when it was new. Wales, yes, but so good. Well, yes, it is the country. Is it Animaniacs, the country's song? Go look it up, Thomas. Remember when they broke into Fortnite's by inventing super strong sneezing powder that hadn't worked out? But hadn't worked out. How 2 little mice were going to hold on to cold out? Yes. They were so brilliant. That was when Wacko Song names all the countries in the world. It was indeed. Do you remember good idea, bad idea? Not off the top of my head. I might do if I'm reminded of it. There are many things that I don't remember until someone mentions something about it. It's like, ah, yes. Because a lot of childhood shows blurred into one for me. Oh, that one, the reboot, that's one. Good for the Animaniacs. I've avoided the reboot because why would you want to reboot it? Updated one available on YouTube somewhere. The country's on it as well. Yeah, I assumed so. But who wants an updated one? It needs to be wrong to be right. Those words make sense, honestly. So these have gone on the buffers a lot easier than I thought they would. Good idea watching the animated reboot. Bad idea watching the Thomas reboot. Oh, I'm glad I don't have to. I am glad my children are old enough that I'm not going to be forced to watch that. At least, I hope it stays that way. No, don't fold in half. Yet. Now you can fold yourself in half, because then all you're doing is wrapping yourself around the buffer shank, just like that. Very nice, excellent. Thank you for cooperating, transfer. Now we are all transferred up. And yes, Gary Bot, hydration is important. The reboot though, despite missing some favourite characters, it's like watching a continuation rather than a reboot. I mean, that's good, but does it have the same level of adult-orientated jokes? Because those make those shows much better. Isn't it pretty? I think it is. What does Mr. Mole think? Before we go whacking some more paint on it. I'm very happy with that. Tudor bites. Yeah, I don't think there are as many. Can't properly remember. It's been a while since I watched the reboot. Waiting on season 2. See, that's no good. Do they at least go and dust for fingerprints? Definitely my favourite joke of that whole show. Perfecto. Thank you, Javier. That's wonderful. Thank you, Andy. So, she needs a white cab roof. That black will not do. And I've been asked to do a write-up on these transfers, so I do need to get the logo finished. Who didn't shut the white paint pot? Which one of you was it? Looks like we're getting some dirty white. I can't spill paint that's rock solid, James. You know what's in my hand? Oh, good evening, Killian. How are you? I hope you are well. paint fail in the dust spill. Yes. B1 is looking fantastic. Thank you, Killian. I am glad you approve. I'm just trying to revive the white paint so that I can paint the cab roof. Which, because we're using enamels, is working. Very well, thanks. And yourself, sir? I am very good, thank you. I mean, I own a B1 that looks like this. How could I not be very well? I might have added a touch too much white spirit. There is only one way to find out. And where my quote doesn't actually mean what I used it to mean about South Sea, but you get my drift. I do indeed. There's moments like this that make me glad I'm planning my drill mounted paint spinner. You can get electric paint stirrers. You can get electric coffee stirrers. They used to sell them in Aldi that are just the right size for humbrol pots. Just looking for my scissors. I'm going to clean up these bristles a bit. They're sticking out. Cavalry, my word, what technology. I know, right? Pure luxury. But once again, for those that ask why I use enamel paints, you saw this completely dry and solid, and now I'm painting with it. Electric coffee stirrers, I've never tried electric coffee. See, this is where we need that groan command. Yes, it's a bit thin because I added a bit too much white spirit. But that is why I use enamel paints. Was the white paint supposed to go over the edge? Not quite as much as it has, but a little bit, yes. Because the roof is quite thick. But yeah, it did go a little bit further than it was meant to. But it's nothing we can't touch up with the green because it's not covering anything else. Those blobs on the side of the roof look a bit iffy. Blobs on the side of the roof, it looks fine. So yeah, ignore this saying enamel thinners, it's actually white spirit. And it's absolutely filthy, but so is all of my white spirit, so I can't exactly go and get clean stuff for watering down paints. Realised the other day the Harwick model is going to have a white roof because the NRM did that to the logo at some point. It's put me right off the model. What colour should it be? I am ignorant to these matters. Typical, I grabbed two and not of three. There's 3 pots, I grabbed 2 of them and they're both the wrong one. When I use thinners, I decant a teeny amount of plastic milk bottle top with pipettes that my thinners are always clean. Generally, yes, but this pot is specifically for cleaning brushes. Generally, when I'm using white spirit, I do that, but in the painting of the new the new workbench going gloss white, the shelf above it going gloss white, the shelf below it going gloss white. Look how nicely lit this is, because, you know, I also have lights underneath the shelves, so the bottom of the shelves are white. I used a lot of white spirit recently, is what I'm getting at. And I ran out, so I just kept the last lot for topping up the brush cleaner, actually. How very non-mauve. Indeed, it is very non-mauve, isn't it? Oh, now it's not going to open. Always does this. The child lock on these is annoying. Darn you, Vallejo. And you're not wanting kids to drink liquid metal. Maybe they shouldn't use children as locks. I quite agree, Thomas. I very much agree. So the LNWR never, the LNWR never use white roads, as far as I know. Maybe a Royal train or something. Yeah, that's a bit bad of the NRM to paint it white. Then it should be black, if it's supposed to be black. So what happens with these child locks is they get stuck because a bit of paint gets in them, and then the child lock won't turn and it just pops. Of course, you don't know where that bit of paint is, so you have to work all the way round to try and get rid of it. Every photo film I've ever seen a Harwick has a black roof. No idea why the NRM saw fit to do that. Yeah, that is, I'd say that's not great of them. Eventually you get there. Now comes the problem. Because you see, at some point, this has lost one of the arms to its safety valve. Because it's a thin, fragile white metal casting. Nothing I can't fix. I'm pretty sure I've got a spare around. I'm just not 100% sure where the spare is. But with these in gold, it'll stand out a lot more. Grown up looks more like, oh dear, Andy. Gold, always believe in your soul. You've got the power to know that you must keep spare parts, 'cause you're gonna break something. So I'm pretty sure if I change the words like that, it becomes a parody, so copyright strike peoples can't get me. And because of how this paint works, you have to close it and shake it up again every so often. What the LNWR didn't even do for the Royal Train White Roofs, the LB&SCR did for every loco. Who's the real Premier line? Depends on if you're a dead mackerel. Copyright strikers don't care if it's parody or not, they'll still try and get you. Yeah, but I've got a defence if it's parody. I've not had one yet for one of my many renditions of Gold. Maybe what I need to do, if they do, is just send them a copy of my driving licence and say check the song credits. But maybe they'll let me off. Yeah, I know there's paint that I've painted round where I shouldn't, but the black needs redoing anyway. I'm glad you approved of my line there, Killian. Just done some reading. Apparently the White Roof dates from the 90s when they did up Gladstone and Harwick in Royal Train condition for an exhibition. Ah. I mean, they got the White Roof right on Gladstone, because it's supposed to have a white roof. And it's certainly got silver buffers at the moment. I'm not going to give it silver buffers right now. Yes, well, the NRO never let things like historical accuracy get in the way, do they? No. Well, God, no. Not for a second. You know their model of remembrance is wrong. Their 5-inch L-class. It is very wrong. It is number 333. It says remembrance on the tanks, but it's in umber. And it never existed in that condition. Gonna etch weeds into the buffers also. Nah, that's a that's a Caledonian thing. In fact, not only did remembrance not exist in that condition, too busy shouting at people for touching a giant piece of metal to worry about doing research. Very true. Number 333 never wore umber in its life. And it wasn't called remembrance until after it became a Southern Railway loco. In fact, it didn't even get its photographic grey livery until after it had become a Southern loco. In LB&SC condition, it never got a livery. It ran round in its red oxide undercoat because they needed a loco in service. There was no time to paint it. Most class only had names after conversion to M15X. Indeed. But yes, I do have a picture of Remembrance in its red oxide. When it was still a pre-grouping engine. But no, despite being the photographic grey version of Brighton Lined Umber, it was the Southern that painted it in that livery. At least one, I think, had a name earlier. Yes, I think so. I'm learning. I prove I'm learning. You know, we've got a command for that now, Javier. Exclamation mark Ralph. And of course, this does mean, for everyone out there, that my Brighton Baltic is indeed in post-grouping condition. Get all the Ralphs in there. Proof of Brighton Baltics. They are great, aren't they? I've got a drawing for one up there. And it's almost time again for Easter, or is it bunnies? It is almost time for that. The command still exists, but it's disabled. So I can't remember which one it is. It might even be both of those. I need to turn the command on. I need to re-enable the bunnies, I think. I think it was bunnies. Release the bunnies. No, I went on to the front, but again, it's nothing that we can't fix by touching up the green, which needs doing anyway. Is it bad when I heard it's disabled? I thought the IT crowd. Yes, yes it is. Mr. Burns can't afford German Shepherds anymore. Oh, I feel there's a punchline coming. That's what springs to my mind as well. I mean, I'm not going to hate you for those things being what springs to your mind, but it's another one of those instances of, God, I hate the creator. I hate him so much. Ah, yes, I've got it now as well, Killian. I have got it as well. I approve. Again, separation is a good thing. It is indeed. I'm not going to argue with you there, it is a good thing. And I wasn't trying to argue that it wasn't a good thing earlier, for that matter. And a groan for Andy, yes. What's Mr. Burns' favourite sandwich? Go on. Egg salad. Oh dear. Oh dear. I can see me regretting putting a groan command. You're making me not want to have a groan command with audible groaning noises. Egg salad, the stuff I'm always on about. You're all terrible people. Terrible, terrible people. Always get to about commands that control noises. It's only ever going to lead to problems in the long run. See, that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm sceptical about wanting to do it, but I also do want to do it until people abuse it, and then I'll have to turn it off. You know, I'd really like to believe it wouldn't get abused, but then we have James here wanting to play with my central heating. Just have it where 10 groans, it plays trying to go, shut up. It's be fun problems. The last about half a stream then. You're optimistic, Alex. It's a 10-minute cooldown. I'm expecting it to have a 10-minute use and then a cooldown for the rest of the time. Yeah, competition so you can get the bugs the soonest. Cooldown idea is not a bad one, if it exists. I think it does. In fact, the thing is, I can set up commands that you have to earn points by being in chat and taking part and stuff before you can use them. So I could turn the points on and make it cost 1,000,000 points. So you have to send like 1,000,000 commands. I think they are on actually. Hang on. Where are your points? There are points. They do exist. At the moment it only gives you points if you donate. Which is interesting because I have the most points. But yeah, I have a list of everyone that's donated and you've all got 10 points each if you've ever donated or signed up to Patreon, etc. You've got 10 points for every time you've done it. You've seen Twitch streamers link channel points to sound commands that make stream unbearable, honestly. Yeah, but that's Twitch points. They're easier to get. How many points do we all have? You don't have any, James. How many points do I have? See, I've clicked off of it now. So you're on there with 2 separate accounts, Thomas. You have a total of 35 points. But yeah, I can set up like mini games and everything in here with the chatbot. So in this case, prizes win points. Yeah, indeed, James. Hooray for having to. What do you mean it's only points? Do kittens and puppies not get points? The chatbot doesn't know about those. These are chatbot points. I don't know if there's even a I've never looked into them enough to even know if there's a manual override. But yeah, I have 180 points in there and I have no idea why. Then the chatbot is daft. It is indeed exceptionally daft. But what we're saying is I could set up commands that make annoying noises and then you'd have to pay me to be able to use them. See? It's all about making money, isn't it? That's the whole point of Streamlabs. £180 points for streaming, but it doesn't recognise me as the streamer. Well, it does, but there's nothing about that for points. I'd save up points just to play whistles. Rich carry. We would have a D1. Oh, brilliant. And yes, we would. You get me that 10 million on D1. Making money from streaming. What a novel idea. Yeah. Indeed, Alex. And of course the problem, Alex, is all the money that I do make from Patreon gets instantly spent straight back on the stream. So I make £16 a month at the moment on Patreon. Those bits of foam behind me cost £15. And they certainly don't keep me in projects for a month. I have certainly spent more on this room than I have made from streaming in total. Never mind the laptop. £1,000? I get that reference. Forgot to do this bit. But yeah, I've been running so low on projects and spending all my own money on other things like redoing the house. I've been genuinely tempted to open up my commissions to everything for free, just to get some more projects through the door that I can work on. It's genuinely worried for a second I'd be the only one that got the reference. No, I think it's my brother is the reason I got the reference. But I did get it. Even if I wanted to stream again, right now I couldn't. I no longer have my name on Twitch. Does someone else have your name on Twitch? Did you sell your name? Because if you did, I totally approve. Any way to make money. No, it's just... No, it's in the Twitch vault for another 3 months. Oh? Were you naughty on Twitch or something? And anyway, you might not want to stream, but I want you to stream. For purely selfish reasons, obviously. Change my name, not realising old names have a 6-month cooldown. Ah, I see. I did not know that. But I mean, that makes sense as a rule to not have people able to just switch their name about all the time. That would be very open to abuse. So I approve of Twitch doing that. And there we are, all the black is now touched up. And we have 10 minutes left. As I said, even if I do stream again, it won't be until I get set up where I can stream for consoles as well, and I don't want to outlay that much at the moment. No, I can totally get why you wouldn't want to outlay on it. No, I'm totally with you there. Yeah, it's the difference between me streaming and you streaming, is I've never wanted this to be a job. This is something I do as an extension of the hobby for my own entertainment. So important changing names, for instance, small logo is frankly a rubbish name, but it's a Google search suggestion for small logo. Yeah, that makes sense. So it turns out Nintendo Switches are now as rare as PS5s, can't get a non-Switch like for love nor money at the moment. Well, that sucks. But yeah, it's weird. But people see how much money I spend on doing the streaming. Like the foam, the lights, the decent microphones, etc. And like, oh, so how's your YouTube going? You making money yet? And it's like, actually, that's not why I do it. I do it because I enjoy it. So why'd you spend all that money then? Because I want to do it properly. Now, a cheap USB capture device, it looks like a thumb drive. Get yourself an HDMI wire splitter so you can get into your telly and a capture device. Yes, but a lot of those cheap ones don't work very well with streaming software. That's the problem there, Thomas. You want something that is going to work with Streamlabs in this case. I approve of amateurism. All of my videos, albeit I don't make money on them, are released under Creative Commons licenses, including the music. Yes, all my pictures I release are Creative Commons, but I do, however, want to retain the rights to my video work. But my pictures, certainly, they're all Creative Commons. Don't want cheap though, I want high quality, and if I can't stream high quality, I'm not streaming. Exactly, Alex. See, that's my opinion. What's the point of doing it right? 380 subs, a lot more than when I was last here. Are you going to do anything for the 400 milestone? I know, that 380 has crept up on me. It's the Hornby four-wheel coaches that did that. We've gained so many subscribers after that. We struggled to get past 350 for a couple of months. I am not planning anything for 400. I do have something special planned for 500 though. Something very special indeed. So get me there, everyone. It includes another giveaway. A very special giveaway. Oh, it's testable. Yeah, I know an Aussie mate has one of them cheap ones and it works perfectly for them. Proof of Creative Commons, also proof of high quality. Exactly. Creative Commons and high quality are the best. Plus, would like not to have my GP light lighting up the room when I just want to use my camera as a webcam, essentially. Yep. Silver smoke box door hinges? Yes. 500 subscribers, 1:1 scale, D1 new build? No. But the thing I'm giving away for my 100 subscribers is nearly 120 years old. So get me there if you want the chance to own something old and railway related. All my Flickr pictures are Creative Commons. I'd love to see how they end up being used. Yeah, see, that's the sort of thing I like, is things like that where you can see how they're being used. But for my video stuff like this, I want people to get it through me and through the channel. Especially if my face ever appears on it, which there's a couple of projects that will most likely require me to be on camera. There we go, there are our red panels front and back. God, that was stressful, painting those. But they look good, I assure you. Gosh, older even than my grandmother, same age as my oldest piece, aha. See, I have it ready. Don't have... Wait, what did you say about unsubbing? But yeah, honestly, that four-wheeler review had shot us past the 350 mark that we'd been stuck at for a couple of months. Brought us up to 380, and it is currently the second most viewed video on the channel ever. Which really makes me think, if I want to grow the channel, I need... Yeah, exactly, Alex. I need to chill out more often if I want the channel to grow. Look up the chat message, see above James' last message just under. I never know how chat ends up coming through. I mean, I don't see... Like, the last comment from you that I see is about your LGP light before your unsub one. There is indeed more to life than growth, but it gets a bit depressing when it goes completely stagnant, which it had done. But of course we do have more reviews coming, because we've got the 6-wheel coaches. I'm just waiting for the last one to be sent to me, and then I will be reviewing those. I think I should do a video review of these transfers. So I've been asked to do a write-up on them. So a video review as well seems like a good idea. In fact, in theory, I have 2 articles coming up in the same magazine doing reviews. I'm trying... Here's what I put as a joke. No, another 100 sub giveaway. Quick, we need 280 of us to unsub temporarily. Okay, fair enough. That was funny. But it didn't come up. Also, I did a giveaway at 250 as well. And that was a much better giveaway. I gave away a painting at 100 subs, and I gave away a custom Brighton Open A at 250. And I made a 5-second joke in the video that took me 4 days to film. Okay, it's a bit more than 5 seconds, but it took me 4 days to film that joke, and I'm not convinced it was worth it. 120 to go up is easier than 280 down. I hope it is. YouTube chat is not well designed, don't worry about it. Yeah, that, Thomas, it is really not. So there's another coat on the roof of my Too Thin White. Feels a bit thicker now. So it's obviously improving as it soaks in a bit more of the dried paint. Streamlabs didn't approve of my joke about unsubbing, apparently. No. So the chat window I get in Streamlabs is the YouTube one. It's quite funny, because, no, I can show you quickly. So if we look at the laptop, obviously I am logged in because I am streaming. But if I hover over the chat, because it is YouTube, I am not signed into the chat. So I can't use it. YouTube has emphasised streaming platform. This has been bolted on and not bolted on well. Yeah, and they keep bolting on more and more things and not doing it well. Yes, not getting the on-screen chat this week. Yeah, I had noticed that wasn't coming up. There we go. We'll go for that angle. And we'll put that there. So you're signed into YouTube, but not to use the chat, you must sign into YouTube. Exactly. And if I click sign into chat, all it does is open a web browser page with the chat on it. On-screen, no, on-screen chat has not been disabled. It should work. It just doesn't for some reason. I used to have a viewer count up in the top corner as well that doesn't work anymore. It just all hates me. But yeah, I never actually disabled it. It chooses not to work. It's pumpkin time. Oh look, time best be off. Exactly, chatbot. Chelsea's looking stunning. Very nice work. Thank you, Harry. It's working earlier. It's balked now. That's about right for Streamlabs. I thought you disabled it that week when chat went insane broken. No, I left it up because it was the only way I knew chat was coming through. On-screen chat ended in the pre-stream tonight. Yes, I had noticed it hadn't been showing up. Because with the laptop where it is now, on a white background I see the on-screen chat. And it annoyed me that it didn't, but not enough that I was going to do anything about it. Wonderful body shop work tonight. Thank you, Javier. South Sea looks gorgeous. Thank you, Alex. I am very happy with how she's looking. All she needs now is her olive lining touching up and some varnish. Oh, and the inside of the tender painting, which needs a red oxide colour, which I have to do from a spray can. I will spray it into the lid and then brush paint on there, but I'm not doing that in here without my ventilation set up for obvious reasons. So I might actually finish her off camera and just bring her on to show her finished off next week. Absolutely stunning. Thank you, Killian. Engine looks great. Thank you, Andy. So yes, we have reached midnight. In fact, we've reached 3 minutes past midnight. Good idea. Yeah, I thought so, Alex. And then if I read James's message tomorrow to remind me to order some brass sheet, I'll order some brass sheet, and we can get the carriage finished next week. Wear a gas mask and while painting, just keep going. Are you my mummy? Oh no, it's looking fabulous. Thank you, Thomas. So yes, I have had a great time tonight. I hope you have too. I am really happy with how this is looking. She's a fantastic loco. And, well, what can I say anymore other than that? So, thank you for watching, everyone. I've been Gary. This has been Let's Build. You have been absolutely fantastic as always. Good night.